Hey, I'm Dontrell Sultan, the host of the Innovators of BC podcast. And the Burroughs School of Business and Entrepreneurship is where bosses are built and big ideas take flight. Welcome back to the Innovators of BC podcast, powered by the Best Innovation Lab. I'm your host, Dontrell Sultan, with our guest today, Mr. Jawhar Andre, coming out of New Jersey. His stage name is Whar, and he's a rap artist. He said cloud rap at first. I don't know what that is, but I want him to explain it because we want to get you on this podcast to basically explain your brand. Because most artists say I'm doing this as a hobby, but if you want to take it serious, it's got to be a brand. I know you are taking it seriously.
100%.
So how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Hooked them. But yeah, it's Friday. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to do an interview. I love doing interviews, but I don't get them much because it's hard to market yourself as an independent artist and get to those places that are going to give you the opportunity. So I'm very grateful to be here.
And talk about how you started.
So music has always been a background, really art in general. I come from a family of artists, but I joined the band in 5th grade. I was supposed to join it in 4th grade, but I didn't sign up in time. So I joined in 5th grade. I did percussion from 5th grade all the way to graduation. And I was in the marching band for 2 years. The marching band has to be your life. So that's what I did for 2 years. Because I was like, I kept missing stuff. But I've been doing music for that long, so I've always had a background in it. And then like 8th grade, 7th grade, I was freestyling at lunch tables, and it was fun. And I was like, you know what? Let me try to take this to another level because it's something that I enjoy. I've picked up a lot of things, but I've put down a lot of things. And this is the one thing that I feel like I've consistently been doing. And I would say in 2020 is when I started taking it super seriously. I think before then I was young and also kind of just like figuring out what to do. But then 2020, I started paying for promotion. I started talking to producers. I started doing like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that people don't get to see, but they see the product of. Yeah. So that's when it became more of a serious thing to me. And then 2023 is when I found what I would call my sound today, which is like the cloud rap that you had mentioned before. And so from that point on, I feel like I've really like hit my niche and really discovered who I'm supposed to be as an artist.
And what gave you the confidence coming out of high school? You see your friends doing all this. They have big dreams going to college. They want to work somewhere. What gave you the confidence to keep pursuing what you want to do and not like doing what your parents may say? I don't know if your parents was fully engaged with your artistry and they was fully confident in promoting you, but like what gave you the confidence to keep pushing that route?
I think I've always been sort of like a confident person. Even like as a little kid, I kind of just was like, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I would run with that and do what I felt like represented me the most. Like there was like certain times when I was like in like elementary school to like middle school where I would just like wear whatever I felt like I wanted to wear. And some people would look at it like a certain way because it'd be like, oh, like, and it wouldn't be nothing crazy. It'd be like I wear like a flannel and wear like a t-shirt on top of it. But in 2015, they weren't really doing that. Not at my age. Maybe people that were older were doing it, but I thought it was cool. So I've always kind of had my own identity in terms of what I feel like is really like supposed to be done. And then I think with the music, it's just like, it felt like such a connection to me. And so I realized that if I feel this strongly about it and I'm taking it seriously, then it's like, this is what I need to do. So I'm going to go for it because I had other aspirations, but like I said, I put them down. Like drawing is one thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a cartoonist for the longest time.
Really?
Yeah, actually, I really did because I used to draw all the time. I used to be trying to figure out how to do certain stuff, but it just kind of got to the point where I was like, I love how this turns out, but the process for me is it's just too much. Making music, that process, I'm in it for the whole thing. I've got it down to a science. I enjoy it and I love the product, so I can just do it as many times as possible. As for my parents, at first it was definitely like, what do you mean you're not going to college? Because I am Caribbean. So they were kind of trying to cook me a little bit. But I showed them that I was serious. I got a good paying job. I was able to support myself. They seen me going to different parts of the state to do performances. They seen me marketing myself and I showed everything. I had like a PowerPoint presentation because I had to make sure they understood this is what I really want to do. And they were like, okay, we're going to give you this amount of time to do this and we're going to see where you're at. in 4 years, which is this year actually,
Mm.
because I graduated in 2021 and they're nothing but supportive. I mean, I've made so many strides to not only improve as an artist, but improve my visibility as an artist. And I feel like they notice that. They know I'm going out and doing things. They know I'm doing this interview. They know I've got other stuff planned. I went to Virginia recently for a show. I've been to New York for shows. I've just been doing so much marketing and networking online and in real life. So I feel like with all the effort put in and all the results that I've gained so far, they kind of felt like we can let him do this because he's taken it to the point where it's like, this is really going to be something for him and he believes it.
Right.
So they were like, why not just support him? Which is lucky because my mom was born in Haiti. So it's like, it's always like, get a good paying job and go to school and make sure you can take care of yourself, which she still feels, but she's one of those types of people that came from the original country where it's like she's a lot more progressive. So that allowed me to blossom, I think. And I get a lot of it from her. She's very creative too.
I'm talking about your early stage of learning. I know you said you cloud rapping, right?
Yeah.
Cloud rap. And you said that was early Cardi, that was Pierre born in there, that was some now Lil Uzi. And I love Lil Uzi.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
Feel that.
talk about your early influences and talk about how you learned from it and to do it your own way and create your own sound.
So just early on growing up in New Jersey, you hear like Jay-Z was always on the radio. Like
Really?
yes, dude. Because we would be back and forth to Brooklyn 'cause my parents are from Brooklyn.
Mhm.
So Jay-Z is just always playing. I'm always hearing that. But that didn't really influence me. It just gave me an appreciation for like real rapping and like bars and double entendres and things like that. But when I started rapping, I was listening to a lot of Ski Mask the Slump God because that was the era when I started rapping, that 2017, 2018 era.
Mhm.
And that taught me how to flow because his flows are crazy. He's a very great technical rapper. So I learned a lot of that from him. And then later on, I got to the point of listening to more artists that are in the underground scene, like a Doo-Wop Kane, like a Lil Yachty, that was coming up at the time alongside Lil Uzi,
Mhm.
someone like Uno the Activist. Those types of artists really like kind of shaped and changed how I look at music because I really hadn't tapped into the underground until like 2021. So up until that point, it's just mainstream rap. But then I seen a whole different level and I was like, wow, this is definitely like something that I need to look into. Also, like Summers and Autumn underground rappers that did a style called plug and B that really influenced me. It helped me find my melodies and how to harmonize better on beats because they do a lot of like plug and B is basically the plug genre where it's like just like slower beats with like minimal drums and a good bounce. And then the R&B is basically like the melodies. So you have the plug drums on the R&B melodies and they combine that. And then that's a whole new genre. That really changed, I think, everything for me. Because once I saw that, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Because I'm like 15, 14 years old. I'm like, no, this is so crazy. And I learned how to do it. I learned how to make it and I learned how to adapt it into my style. I don't necessarily make it anymore, but I take a lot of what I got from that era with me in my music. And I think it really helped me be able to make the style that I really want to make today.
So describe your style. Like you mentioned all those influences. So how can someone listening to your music, how can they describe you as an artist?
Um, for the most part, I mean, I make a lot of fun music. I like to make melodic music. I like to, do the rap over just like mainstream beats as well. But I think the main thing for me is the cloud rap, where it's something like you take, if I were to explain how to take everything from all these different influences, you get the flow from Ski Mask, then you get the fun melodies from Lil Yachty, then you get the inflections from Uzi, then from Doo-Wop Kane, you get the production from Summers and Autumn, you would get like the harmonizing and then from Uno the Activist, I feel like you would just kind of get like kind of a combination of the harmonizing and the inflections with how he raps and also just like the way he approaches beats. So I kind of combine all those into my main style. Um, Also Cochise too. That really was something that was super big for me because his beats are crazy. And I feel like he started off as people calling him a Cardi clone, but honestly, he's developed such a lane for himself. And the beats that he raps on, I love those beats. Like those type of beats really work for me. So I think I took his like energetic approach to beats as well. I try to take from a lot of different stuff so that it doesn't really sound like one person and it gives you a refreshing feel for every song because it's like, oh, he's going to tap into all these different influences. How do you mix it up and make the song that you're listening to? So that's what I kind of adapted my style into.
And do you plan on being fully independent in the future of your career, or do you plan on maybe getting into a label? Because I know with most artists, they see all these rappers and put in a 360 deal. And are you knowledgeable of these labels? Are you know what you should do to get an audience and to build on? Because most of the time, yes, it's 360 deals, but they have networking with maybe you get some artists along your belt. Maybe you get some features with them. Uh, Maybe get some more exposure. So, what is your ideas and thoughts on how you want to continue your artistry?
When it comes to signing, uh, first and foremost, I do a lot of research, and that's, I think, another part of why my parents were able to see that I was taking it so seriously because I'm always watching interviews. I'm always like looking at numbers for artists. I'm seeing what works, what doesn't. I'm looking at hits. I'm looking at things that don't go well. I'm looking at public perception. I'm looking at everything because because you have to do that as an artist independently in this era, especially. You have to promote yourself. And to promote yourself, you have to know who you're promoting to and what the landscape of the game is like. So I do a lot of, you know what I'm saying, research on that. And I feel like when it comes to signing for me, ideally, I would want to do a type of deal. What is it called? There's a deal where they kind of just like promote your stuff, but they don't own it and you're not like signed to a number of like albums. I forgot what it's called. I can't.
Is that like digital marketing or
In a sense. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I just don't know, but it's a certain type of a deal where you're not constrained to like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you're filling these requirements. It's kind of just like you're not only a standalone artist, but you also have that label backing. So you get the best of both worlds. Someone who has something like that is oh well, he did just get in label trouble. But lucky he had that for a while, a contract where it's just like he signed to Empire, but Empire in itself is a label that gives artists a lot of freedom. Someone that you might know from there, I'm pretty sure Freddie Gibbs is signed to Empire, I want to say. And I never hear him having any label problems. He just drops when he wants to drop. And he has a lot of leeway. So even though you have to kind of look at what you're getting and kind of accept that, okay, what can you do from here? You know, you don't want to turn down a deal and then it ends up being a mistake, but at the same time, you don't want to sign too quickly. So I have myself in the mind frame of once I get to that point where labels are offering me things, the most important aspects I think of a deal that people overlook is number one, if you're signing for albums or if you're signing for songs, you need to know the difference between that because one is a lot more work and the other one is a lot more marketing. So you have to also know what is it? You have to know if you're for how long because that's the thing. Like they might sign you for a certain amount of years or they might sign you for a certain amount of projects, like I was saying. So that's kind of like a different threshold. The label also will give you an advance. There's like a debate on what type of advances are good and what aren't. I think that goes on from time to time. Someone like T-Pain. T-Pain got signed for like a $12,000 advance. And look at him, it's T-Pain. So he's perfectly fine. But a lot of people are like, I'm trying to move my mom out of this crib and get us here. I'm trying to get this money so I don't have to do this anymore. So they see the big money and they're like, oh, let me get this because we can work it back later. But then there's a whole different set of responsibilities where you have to be like, okay, I have this money, but it's not just free money. Really, label money is advertising money, really simply. You don't get to keep any of that. It's an asset, it's a loan, you have to pay it back. Um, and you should really aim to pay it back with more than what they gave you so that they can give you a better deal moving forward and give you more leeway in certain obligations in your contract. But for the most part, I think I wish I could remember the name of it. I don't know. There's a bunch of artists that do that. Being independent is cool. Someone like a Chance the Rapper, you know, he took it to the moon. He, got a Grammy for being an independent artist, had all these successful songs.
I didn't know he was an independent
Oh,
artist.
yeah. Well, I don't know if he's independent anymore. I feel like he still is, but yeah, he was like independent and he had this deal with Apple Music and,
Mm.
he was able to, like I said, win the Grammy. He had Coloring Book, which was a smash hit, a success. Gave him lots of platinum songs, and he's just a well-known rapper, and you wouldn't think that he's independent, but the way that he puts himself out, the way that he markets himself with the three hat, and how people, even though I've never seen anybody wear it, no disrespect, Chance. I've never. No, it's very fire. I wanted one, I couldn't get one. I've never seen anybody wear it, but the fact that he sold so many, it's like you have to respect that, and that's part of the branding that people don't really think about either, which is also what I'm trying to lean into. But when it comes to a label situation, I definitely want to keep my eyes on the paper and realize what I'm being signed for and what I'm being signed to. But I have a good head on my shoulders, and I think I'll be all right when it comes to that.
And talk about how you're being taken seriously just as an artist. Do you have any big events coming up? I know you said you just dropped a song. Do you have any shows, anything you're planning to do?
So in terms of being taken serious, dude, it's so funny. And people tell you this when they're artists, and you kind of just have to believe them because you don't know them, but I'm a regular guy. I'm gonna tell you right now. It is 100%. You will start making music. People will be like making fun of it. You will get to a certain thing. They'll see you achieve something that they think means you've made it. And they'll be like, yo, you doing it. I've
Exactly.
been doing it the whole time. It just didn't look like it. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to being taken serious, I would say, like I said, 2023 is when I feel like all my best stuff is. Everything before that is, I don't hate it, but it was part of my growth period, and I don't show that to people. Like, if you're like, show me a song, you wouldn't be hearing nothing from 2022 back. You wouldn't be hearing that because that's not who I am anymore. And that's not who I developed myself to be. That was like the grind stages. And I leave all my songs up. A lot of artists delete it. You can go on my SoundCloud and peep my first ever song. Don't do that. But you can. You definitely can. And I do it so that people know the authenticity of the come up so that they see it's like, yeah, he was doing this and now he's all the way over here. Even now, like this, like I said, where I started, which was like 7 years ago, 6 years ago. So I started there and now it's like two completely different things, two completely different, sounds. And that's a part of the growth as being an artist. But the support is really just like, it comes and goes, man. I take the hate with the appreciation. But you know what I'm saying? I read it all as feedback and I don't take anything to heart. But as for stuff that's coming up, I'm trying to work on that. There are a few events that I'm looking at trying to do. Another thing about being an independent artist, I don't have a manager. I have to go do all these things by myself. I have to go out and source the people who are promoting. A lot of the time you have to pay because they're doing this for you. You're whoever off the street realistically. So they have to give you the opportunity with something in terms for them. Like they have to get something out of it. So that's why the money is involved. And then also, the New Jersey music politics is like, we're all really tightly knit because there's not, well, New Jersey as a whole is tightly knit, even though there's, different parts and they have different cultures. A lot of the people that do a lot of the same stuff creatively all know each other. Like I've been to shows over the years and seen the same people in different areas, North Jersey, South Jersey. I see everybody. So it's nothing that is like too disconnected. But as for like trying to get those things situated, you have to really travel. The part of Jersey that I'm in, which is kind of more towards the south, uh, we're not going to start the Central Jersey debate. That's not for today. But the part that I'm in is like, there's like not that much creative stuff going on at all. So you have to really like go ahead and go get it. So I'm working on doing that, but I'm also now, like I said, trying to go more into the branding of me as an artist, showing off my personality, showing off my style, giving people things that they can recognize from me and latch onto. Because as an artist, you are a character to people. People latch on to certain things. You know, J. Cole's so relatable because you see him down the street riding the bike. You know what I'm saying? He's real, he's not somebody who you can't relate to, but at the same time, on the other spectrum, you have someone like Rick Ross. Rick Ross only raps about luxury, but he made that who he was. He got Maybach music. This man did not create Maybachs, But you think about that when you think about him, because he made it his brand to be like gold and luxury and fanciness, and that's what he raps about. So trying to get your brand together is something that I think a lot of people miss, because being an artist, like I said, is also being a content creator. It's also being a marketer. It's also, giving you all these different positions. And a lot of people that are artists are kind of just like awkward kids. So it's like you put them in a position where they have to do all this stuff themselves. They're just trying to make the music.
And approaching, well, this is our last segment of the podcast where we basically give the audience a piece of advice. I wanted to say thank you for coming on this podcast, because I never would have thought, like, with me interviewing artists, I would have thought it was some sort of ego. But you seem like you're very knowledgeable and you're very serious about what you're doing. And most artists come as a hobby, but in order to be something serious, you would have to promote, you would have to make it an actual brand. And like I said, last segment of advice, I basically wanted you to give some advice to the audience about basically just becoming an artist, because a lot of people are held back with the fear of doubt and the fear of uncertainty. And I wanted you to give them some encouraging words to how to start artistry, how to promote, how to just advice in that realm.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Can I look at the camera for this?
Yeah, of course.
That's what they be doing. I want everybody to know that fear is normal. Being nervous is normal. Being someone who has doubt is very normal, especially when you're doing something that isn't, you know what I'm saying? Go to school, go to college, get a job. It's very normal to have that. But the things you need to keep in mind when it comes to motivation and what really is going to like keep you going is that if you think you can do it, you can do it. And I mean that so like seriously, because I literally started out rapping at a lunch table, and I've amassed like over all platforms over like 1 million plays by myself. I've gotten features where artists that are on the underground level by myself. I've done all these things on my own. So I'm living proof that you can get to a certain point, but I also know that there's way more for me to achieve. And when it comes to really trying to figure out who you want to be and what you want to be, there's nothing stopping you but yourself. The consistency is something you have to be honest about. I knew for myself that it was so funny. I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, you see me doing all this stuff, right? And she was like, yeah, it seems like you're really busy. And it's like, it's true. I am busy, but there's levels to this, man. And there never stops being another level. Like, there's always something more you can do.
And can you leave us off with your brand name and the way for them to reach you?
Got you. My name is Whar, Whar. That's on all music platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, if you use Deezer. And then for all my socials, it's Whar, Whar, the number 4, and then ever on Instagram, Twitter. I think it works like that for YouTube too. Anywhere you can find me, one of those things, you'll get to me.
What's up? It's your host, Dontrell Sultan, for the Innovators of BT podcast. Level up your hustle at Best Innovation Lab, where the Benedict's boldest ideas come alive.
Good.